Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this workshop on challenges and opportunities in exploiting digital technologies for planning and promotion of non-motorized transport. So first of all, a bit of introduction of myself. I am Hai Tao. I am a lecturer in urban mobility and intelligent transport in the School of Architecture, Building and Civil Engineering in Loughborough University. Today, I have the pleasure of three colleagues joining us in our discussion, including Dr. Peter Damian, Dr. Kirti Ruka, and Dr. Asiya Naptov. So first of all, what is non-motorized transport that we're talking about today? Non-motorized transport in our discussion today includes non-motorized modes of transport, such as traditionally walking and cycling, and also more recently, some emerging forms of transport, such as shared e-scooters, which many of you would have seen trials starting over many cities in the UK. So broadly speaking, non-motorized transport refers to any mode of transport that is not motorized, so it's not private cars. We're most likely not talking about buses here either. And that will be subject of what we're discussing today. And we'll be looking at how can we use digital technologies to help better plan and promote these modes of transport, because we would like to shift our transportation system to more sustainable state, and that includes encouraging these more sustainable modes of transport that has less carbon footprint in our transport systems. And when we're talking about digital technologies today, we are mainly looking at three aspects, including data, analytics, and digital tools. So how this session is organized today is that I will be first giving a very brief presentation of some examples from Switzerland, where I was working before coming to Loughborough in the UK. And then most of the session will be a workshop where we would like to discuss these issues in your local context and get your opinions on what are the important issues to consider when we're talking about data, when we're talking about analytics, and when we're talking about tools that we want to exploit to promote non-motorized transport. So I will first start with some examples from Switzerland, where I was working before, and to give you a little bit of context of the local place that I have been working in, because it's a place-based decarbonisation conference. We are here today. Zurich in Switzerland is the capital and has a population of about 400K. So that's about the size of Bristol here. And Zurich has also an excellent public transport system with public transport stop within every 300 meters. So with such excellent infrastructure and services, the modal split in Zurich is about 41% of public transport usage, while 26% of walking, and only 25% of the trips in Zurich is made by cars, while remaining 8% of the trips are made by bikes and e-bikes. So we see that Zurich offers very good public transport services that also simultaneously encourage lots of walking and cycling. And in general, the usage of cars is quite low. So Let me first share with you the examples of how data has been used to better plan and monitor non-motorized transport. The example I'm bringing here is quite recent as well. It's about the introduction of various shared bikes and shared e-scooter schemes. So shared bikes and shared e-scooters are sustainable modes of transport with relatively low carbon footprint. However, they also bring in a variety of problems such as obstructed sidewalks, accidents, cluttering urban space, and vandalism. So these mode of transport needs to be carefully monitored. And the monitoring is not easy because these are emerging modes of transport that changes very quickly, and these changes are largely driven by very much unpredictable factors such as volatile investment environments, disruptive business models, changing policies, and more recently also COVID-19. So we really would need data to closely monitor and very carefully plan these emerging modes of transport so that they can serve the mobility needs of the citizens while mitigating the potential problems that these modes of transport might bring into the city. So what we did is that we worked together with the operators of these shared e-scooters and shared bikes, where they would need to provide the location of the available devices in their city because they need to attract the users to use them. So this is a basic form of data that is available from the operators. And then the city authorities require these data to be shared openly through an API. And what we did is that we then integrated all these data from all available operators and then presenting a map of usage, how these devices are being distributed around the city, how these devices are being used, what kind of infrastructure are more popular, and where they might be really just cluttering urban space. So this is how data has been used to very carefully monitor and plan shared bikes and shared e-scooters. And in particular, this has been used when the city is faced with challenges such as COVID-19. Then this data, which is available now to the city authorities, really provide an important instrument to understand what is happening to these modes of transport. For example, here on the left side, we see the different regions of Zurich, and with the bar graph, the left side, the dark blue colored bar is the usage before COVID, and the light blue colored bar is the usage afterwards. And we see there is a sharp decrease of usage because of COVID. People don't like to use shared devices anymore. And also there is generally a decrease in mobility and in travel and in city centers, in particular in city centers. So we have been able to use all the data that's available to now city authority to carefully monitor and plan. Then how can we use these services to better serve the mobility needs of citizens during challenges such as COVID-19? So that's how data has been useful. And next, I would like to share an example of how analytics could be very instrumental in making decisions about decarbonization. So when we're talking about analytics, we're really talking about modeling, simulation, and data techniques such as AI. So here I would like to share with you one particular kind of simulation that is used to look into decarbonization. So simulation traditionally is very much vehicle-centric. So all the traffic simulation, they mostly look at cars and look into issues such as congestion, they look into issues like capacity of the roads, and how to optimize capacity at intersections, at highways, and so on. That clearly is not the way we would like to use simulations when we want to look into issues like decarbonisation, because we would need a much more people-centric view of our transportation system, and looking at not just cars, but multiple modes of transport, including non-motorized transport such as walking and cycling. So what we did is that there is an important category of simulation called agent-based modeling and simulation that simulate intelligent agents making decisions about transport choices. So for every citizen, when they are traveling for some purpose, they are faced with a decision: what kind of mode of transport do I choose, do I use for this trip? I could be driving my car, or I could be taking public transport, or very often will be a combination of different modes of transport. I will need to first walk to the public transport station, and then I'm taking the bus, and then the bus takes me to the destination, and then I have to make a final segment of walking to complete this journey. And when people are making this kind of decisions, there are multiple factors that's being taken into consideration, like time. So whether driving gets me to the destination faster, and also cost. How costly is it to take public transport, to take the metro, and also how comfortable, whether walking is comfortable, whether the bus is going to be very crowded, is the cycling infrastructure there. So the decision process to make such kind of choices about mode of transport is rather complex. And when we simulate these choices and decisions using intelligent agents, what we're able to do is to analyze all kinds of planning and operation decisions about our transport infrastructure and services. For example, where should we invest in our new cycling infrastructure? Where can we improve the operation of shared e-scooters so that it better meets the need for mobility of the citizens? And these decisions are very important for the policymakers when they are thinking about different strategies and implementations of decarbonization. So using simulation tools and predictive analytics, we'll be able to compare different kinds of scenarios about our investment, about different operation strategies, and then finally making evidence-based policies about these issues. So that's how analytics could be used in such decision-making. And finally, I would also like to share with you what kind of digital tools can we make or use to help promote and plan non-motorized transport. So the example here I'm bringing is again from Switzerland. It is from the Swiss Federal Railway, and working with us in providing an app that is diary for people's journeys. So essentially what this My Way app does is that it collects information about people's journeys made and using all modes of transport, including using public transport, or when they are driving or walking and cycling. And then in the end, they present in different metrics how this person is making their journeys, what portion of the journeys are made in sustainable manners, and what are the potentials for substituting some of these car journeys using more sustainable modes of transport, such as train rides. And then just by presenting the information to the end users, by making the end users being aware of their transportation choices, we think that we'll be able to help the users make more informed choices, more conscious choices about their transport, about their travel. And also, we're also adding a bit of competition elements into this app, where people will be receiving points for making journeys that have very low carbon footprint. And people can use these points to exchange for public transport tickets and so on, so that we can promote such behavior within the general population. So that is the example of how data analytics and tools have been used to better promote and plan non-motorized transport. And still, some important question remains here, especially in your local context, that we would like to understand now that we have talked about these examples from Switzerland, including what kind of data do we need to monitor and plan transport? What kind of predictive analytics could help make decisions about decarbonization? What kind of digital tools could help nudge and shape people's travel behavior? And if there's any other fundamental issues about digital technologies in relation to decarbonization that we are missing here. So that is all from me in this presentation today.